The 2010-2011 Taylor University women's basketball team and head coach Tena Krause are very excited about the upcoming season. The Trojans will use a mixture of skilled returners and talented newcomers to build on last year's solid campaign.
I'm really excited about that core, and they will be the core. I mean, basically, if you look at the sophomore that was injured, she was also a starter last year as a freshman, so we've basically got 4 out of 5 starters returning. With a 5th one that was in and out due to our senior that was injured last year with a lot of minutes. So yeah, I am really excited about that. We've had, of course, the preseason conditioning, which nobody likes, but they did a good job of encouraging and supporting, and then we went on our retreat, and that was a huge bonding, trust-building time for us on the rope course. And I've seen a lot of that chemistry and unity that you typically don't see this early that strong, but they're hanging out together, not required to do that, but they're doing it. And so the unity aspect seems to be there and doing well. It's just going to be, will that continue once you get into competition and roles start unfolding and playing time starts unfolding, if that unity will stay there, but we hope it does.
The Trojans returned 4 players that started games last season, including 6-foot senior forward Allison Reese, an all-conference honorable mention selection last season, as well as sophomore guard Tess Rudolph, who was named a member of the MCC all-freshman team last year.
Well, probably the person that comes to mind right away who has sort of been groomed as a leader throughout her time is Allison Reese, and she had to fill some huge shoes last year as a junior with our senior getting injured and sidelined because she was one of the 2 captains. So she's emerged more verbally this year, stepping into that senior role and seeing from a past senior leader how important the communication aspect is. Tessa's came back in phenomenal shape, so that's the first thing I'll say. And I think part of that is she saw at camp the speed and the quickness of the other guards, and she knew that she'd have to get a little bit quicker foot. So she's came back in phenomenal shape, number 1. Number 2, she's developed a more penetration game because she is one that would be a sitting duck out there at the 3-point line the whole game if you'd let her. And so she's worked really, really hard on her penetration game. I think that's gotten more consistent, so you're going to see her mixing it up more, maybe shot faking out there at the 3-point line and then taking the ball in more for pull-up jumpers. So there'll be a little bit more blend, a little bit more versatility from her on her shot selection.
The Trojans will look for major contributions from senior guard Becca Morris as well.
Well, Becca's done an outstanding job. Last year she struggled being her first year in the system. Didn't feel real confident in herself. Great player, great shooter, but it just wasn't coming out. I think she was just putting way too much pressure on herself. This year I've talked to her, she feels a lot more relaxed. She feels more confident, obviously being her 2nd year in our system. We've bumped her in. She's a senior, so she has some captain leadership roles that she'll be playing, and she's very thankful for those based on the fact that she is a senior, and we based a lot of that on her character from last year as to what we saw to see if she had the pieces. So I think some of the strengths that we'll see from her this year is a little bit more leadership role because she feels more confident. She feels like she fits in now. She's not the new kid on the block like you would be as a freshman. Her shot, even in practices, are more consistent. So hopefully you'll be seeing her knock down more of her shots. She's a great 3-point shooter. And at times last year during some big games, she'd hit some of those shots, but she can be a lot more consistent.
Coach Krause and her staff hit the recruiting trail hard in the offseason and brought in a talented group of 6 freshmen. Krause is excited about what the newcomers have shown so far.
Well, I think that was probably one of the most exciting things for us. We got 6 new freshmen, so we're pretty young, and they seem to be catching on a little bit quicker than I thought they would, especially to our system and some of the offensive sets that we have. Just looking forward to their energy, their excitement. Of course, they're freshmen, so they typically have a lot of enthusiasm. But I think they'll bring some depth. I mean, we have 4 of the 6 are posts, and I think the post area is going to be a little bit more stronger than we've been in the past, and so I'm pretty excited about that. And then the 2 freshman guards that we brought in bring a little bit more than average speed. So I'm pretty excited that we'll be maybe a step quicker with them coming off the bench than we have been in the past as well.
Krause, who enters her 22nd season at the helm of the Taylor program, says this year's squad will utilize its depth in the post and quickness on the perimeter to attack opposing defenses.
We've predominantly been known in the past, we're a post team. We're going to go to our post first look, second look, maybe even third look if we can. So I think we'll be a little bit deeper in those areas. I feel like with Allison Reese back and Nellie Eskew leading the way, I think that we'll be a little bit stronger in there. But we've got those 4 freshman post players that do have some strength, do have some quickness and some agility that I think will give us more depth, especially if we get into some foul trouble. But also, it's going to be harder, I think, to double team us because those post players have now developed the three-point shot, which, you know, most people love the three-point shot and you're shooting, and sometimes you don't want your post shooting that. But it's a good blend for us to know that all 6 of our posts basically can shoot the 3. Now, are they real consistent? Not always, but there can be a threat out there, which is nice to try to keep them off the double teaming. So I would see that as one of our strengths. I think as another strength could be, and this is like a passion of mine to always want to run, but sometimes it's hard to get that to happen. I love an up-tempo game. I always have. We have that in a couple of freshmen that have came in with some extra speed, and I think if we can get our juniors and sophomores to pick it up a step, these freshmen will complement them, because actually these freshmen are faster than our returners right now. They're just out of control because they're freshmen. So I think if we can get them a little more under control to blend with our guards, I hope to see a more up-tempo type game. If we can run, great. If we can't, if we get into that half-court set, then we're going to use obviously our strength in our post area.
While the Trojans hope to make a return trip to the NAIA National Tournament, Krause says the team is truly concentrating on just one goal.
The number one goal that we've always strived for is to make sure that everything that we're doing is to glorify the Lord, whether we're on the court or off the court. And our girls feel, our women feel that the court is our mission field. So we use basketball as a tool to bring people either to the Lord or closer to the Lord through the game of basketball. And we just feel really blessed if the Lord allows us to continue on, do conference play, tournament play, national play, that we just feel that that could be a reward for us. If we don't do that, we still feel like we're doing His will, because we're striving for excellence in everything that we do.
Taylor opens with a tournament at Purdue Calumet before returning to Odell Arena for the home opener on November 10th at 7 p.m. against Wilberforce.